Yeah.
All right, well, let's start into this. So we got Brian Bossone. Yeah, I know. It was the whole debate.
Wait, are we looking over here?
No, just talk to each other. Yeah. From PowerTube TV. I know. I have it written down. I kept messing it up. PowerTube TV.
PowerTube TV.
Okay, so you've got a ton of entities that everyone knows on there because, I mean, if you grew up in the car media space in the last 30 years, you've seen all of your stuff. What is some of the list of the entities that you have right now that are currently playing? I was watching them last night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So my career started back working on Speed Channel. And over the years, after it all went away, we just discussed and talked about how Speed Channel got switched to FS1. Everything got shelved. I had worked on Pinks and Pinks All Out. My content development director, Ray, actually was executive producer on Pastime. All these popular, great shows that were number one, 1-point-something million on Monday nights, constantly just top number one stuff, great sponsors, great backing. I wanted to keep the Pinks and Pinks All Out and these brands alive because they're great. So we own that now. It took me almost 7.5 years to pry it out of the hands of Fox Television, but it took a long time and a lot of effort, and we kept it alive. But we have it now on PowerTube TV. So we have Pinks All Out, Pinks All Out Takes, Pastime, Drag Race High, and a couple other older basic speed entity shows from there. These are shows that we call them legacy shows, we'll call them, that Pinks started basically the whole automotive reality television fad deal, or I wouldn't say fad, but let's say, we started.
The boom, for sure.
The boom, yeah.
There was a huge boom after all that.
And as well, I've spoken tons of times. A lot of the guys that are on Street Outlaws, they started there. It was Asian and Daddy Dave and Chief and all those guys were all in there. And it all started and, they kind of got a taste of it from there. And, basically that launched a lot of their careers, I would say, or at least helped them along from there. And from here, we're going to continue on bringing it out. We're bringing everything back right now. That's the main thing we're trying to do.
I think that's what obviously brought all this back into like the conversation because, obviously those shows are awesome, but you're watching something from 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
It's amazing though. Even though it's 10 or 15 years ago, when I got my hands on this, we re-edited it out, we cleaned them up, we put them on PowerTube TV. We'll do like specials, like right now I think we have on Roku on Pink's channel running all by itself. Mm-hmm. We'll get emails and phone calls. How do I get on the show? It's in the business we talk about cutting things in evergreen. Yeah. And evergreen in automotive or any type of television means that you really don't give a timing or you don't say it's this date or this year. It was always cut in evergreen individually by themselves. And, Pastime, people, we do it's on YouTube, it's on our stuff. We get emails. We want to be on the show now. Okay, the last time that was shot was 2010.
Really?
They literally don't realize that show is that old. It's 15 years.
I didn't realize 2010 was the end of it.
End of it all. Yeah, 2010 was, I actually watched Speed go away. We knew it was going to happen. We went into meetings when we were on Pinks and Pinks All Out and stuff, and we had big meetings, and they said, that's it, we're done. Fox had decided that we had taken it from, I think, 30 million homes to about 90 plus million homes, Speed Channel, and they had multiple channels to choose from, and they realized that they had basically that an automotive viewer is basically similar to any sporting viewer. And they said, this is the perfect channel to take and go after ESPN. So if you're watching FS1 right now, you're actually watching Speed Channel. In the middle of the night, you could watch in 2010, basically you could watch all the episodes starting to play out through 10. It was all basically whatever we cut in 11. Basically everything was cut. And then from there, you could watch, they put on the screen FS1 and Speed next to each other. And then one Sunday morning, it went, whoop, and that was it. It just went away. Yeah, I've got the video of it changing over from there.
It seems weird to do a rebranding because like Speed is such like such a good branding.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, well, that's the thing is, it's just like, all right, let's go back. Let's step back a second. So we just spoke about Street Outlaws. Street Outlaws is a great brand. Everybody loves it. Yep. Everybody in the automotive community loved it. Everybody loved Pinks. They all loved it. The thing is, they were both owned by big corporations that could give two shits about automotive. Yeah. It's the bottom line. It's the dollars. And when let's say sponsorship or marketing dollars started to dwindle down, or there was a different narrative or it's moving forward, like ESPN, didn't bother them one bit to just cut off Speed. That name is synonymous. It's a great name, but it was meaningless to the bean counters and the big heads over there at Fox.
And it seems like it's more of a problem when they're owned by the big corporations on the smaller side of the corporation, because then they'll just be sold to this person, then handed off there.
Motor
and
Trend.
Oh, they were just a
Handed
deal,
off.
and then they kind of just evaporated.
Yeah. In the corporate world of television, doesn't matter what it is, when Warner merged with Discovery, basically they become the hierarchy from there. And then what they do is they look at how do the bean counters go back and say, how do we trim the fat? And Motor Trend is just a little tiny, just like Speed Channel was. They were about the same exact viewership at that particular time. And for Discovery and Warner to do it, they said, all right, well, that's not making, that's expensive to run. We're not making big money on it. Easiest thing to do is sell it off or close it. And it just shuttered everything. And everybody involved just kind of like, was wow.
Which is such a shame, because they don't seem like they're all that expensive to produce, because especially live events, like they make their own money. They kind of have their own finances coming in as well.
That's the problem, though. So Motor Trend and Discovery and Fox are used to paying West Coast Hollywood money. The people that were involved with those shows, and even our stuff, our budgets, I think, were for Pink's All Out was $380,000 an episode.
Yeah,
that's insane. You could do it now for a tenth of that. You know what I mean? But back then, that's what they were used to paying. They're used to paying those because they pay on different post houses and different production companies, and they're used to these big budgets. And you and I know. I mean, look, in the studio here, we could put something out right now looks great, sounds great, and does the right thing and hits the right medium. On a budget where they're so used to just writing those big checks out that, I guarantee, if you think about it, on Motor Trend, let's say, what's one of the build shows, the big build ones? Can Dig It.
Now, yeah.
Can Dig It was, I guarantee, was a $150,000, $200,000 plus budget per episode, if not more.
That's insane.
Because of the build time,
how much of
the
that
length.
Is just production cost?
It's whoever got paid, you know what I mean? So that takes massive amounts of marketing dollars, meaning advertising, selling commercial time and stuff like that. And with the environment right now with social media and influencers, a lot of that money is going right out there, out the door, out to influencers and separating it out, and probably Google ads and different things like that. So the cable television world is dead. Sorry to say it. I'm in it. I've been in it. But it's not going to be around much longer. There will be a version of it, and it will never go away. But a TV is going to turn basically into a computer with apps, and you'll be able to choose the ones you want. And it's not going to be the same.
Well, it's impossible to compete with somebody like, I'll say it because he's one of my closest friends, a Garrett Mitchell, a Cletus McFarlane. It's impossible to compete with somebody who can film something the same day with an iPhone of high quality and put it right out. Zero feedback from any person besides his own little...
Control your destiny.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that was one of the reasons why we did PowerTube TV. And it's kind of like the setup of where this whole conversation went. I actually had a deal with Motor Trend to buy Pink's and Pink's All Out. I actually ended up buying Pink's and Pink's All Out. I had given up. After 7 years, there was $500,000 on the table just alone for Pink's that they didn't want anything to do with, just to buy the Pink's brand, not Pastime, just that. Oh, Fox this, that. It took 3 months worth of conversations. You would send an email. You might get an email back in 3 weeks. And I gave up. I kept it kind of the brand alive by doing this All Out Live show and this other deal we called Instant Green, almost like Pastime, just to keep people interested and so we wouldn't lose the momentum we had. And I'd given up, honestly. It was a year and a half, and I hadn't spoke to Fox. And then Discovery, Motor Trend called me because they knew I was all involved, and basically from there. And I turned around and I said, they're going to try to go after these brands. And they said, well, do you know? I said, can you get it? I said, yeah. So I said, let me reach out. And I did. I reached back out to all my connections in Fox. All gone. Just the same thing as normal, corporate everything. They had done a deal with Disney. And everybody that was originally in Speed or Fox or anybody we dealt with in the past was gone except for one lady. And I ended up getting a hold of her. She was the lady who originally uploaded our shows to go on to Speed. She goes, oh, everybody's gone, Brian. I go, holy crap. So all these conversations that we had about purchasing were
a year
gone.
and a half, 2 years, they're just gone.
Every email, all the years of that, we had a 5-year contract with them in place to make Pinks All Out. Was so restrictive, you couldn't do international. You had to give them 10% of the budget. It just wasn't worth it. We did a quick one on 15, and we put it on Outdoor Channel because Jim Libator was the head of Speed back at the time. It did great, but no international. And I gave up. I'm like, if you can't have international, cable channels and they can't sell, you can't make money.
Well, and time slots were so important, and it's like it's
couldn't do it.
Too much to deal with.
We had we did a Pinks All Out in 2015 at Rockingham Drag. We had 503 cars. We put it on a Wednesday night. Took the place of something on this deal. I forgot, it was like some Alaska truck, Alaska plane thing or something on Outdoor Channel. It brought viewership up 70% with no marketing. Mm-hmm. So they knew that it was still hot, but they wanted that international, and we couldn't get that. So that basically after that 5-year contract went up, that 2-year span we talked about, I gave up. And I went back at them, and she goes, you could speak to Anna Wickenbacher was her name. She goes, all right. So I called her, and she said, where did you leave off? And she was so nice. Unlike everybody else, I'm sorry, I dealt with before in the past. And in 6 weeks, I owned it. It took, a whole new attitude, a whole new group in there. Best part is they knew nothing about the brand and didn't know we negotiated, but I ended up getting Pinks All Out, Pastime Drag Race High. So this is where it all went to shit, though. Because now I go back.
What year was that then?
That was in 21.
Okay.
I turn around and go back to Discovery and Motor Trend and said, I got it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, awesome. There's 3 options. Either you produce it, we partner, or we own it and we bring you on an executive producer. Give us a couple days. Comes back in a couple of days. We want to own it all. We want everything. We'll bring you on executive producer. We'll work together. We'll bring the brand back. But if we're going to put money in it, we want to own it because we're going to put everything behind it. And that would have been great for everybody in the industry because, hell, just imagine having Discovery and Motor Trend money to build Pinks and Pinks All Out back up again.
That almost seems like in 21 they were in an internal debate, looking back now, of are we going to stay with cars or are we going to pivot? And there was an internal debate.
Well, what it was, the Street Outlaws was coming. They were watching, and I knew we had meetings actually with the guys that were producing. Street Outlaws was not getting the numbers that everybody thought, and they weren't getting the dollars for the marketing. Mm-hmm. So they knew that you can only rebrand or do so many versions of the same thing. It just runs its course, and that's natural. There's nothing wrong with the brand. I mean, but it was coming down to like, all right, we need something now to go back up, and it was going to be Pinks and Pinks All Out, and we're about 3-4 weeks into negotiations, and then everything kind of went quiet. And you know what happens when the phone calls go longer and the emails take longer, and I get a phone call, Brian, I apologize. Warner merged. I don't think I have a job anymore. All the budgets were cut. There is no more streaming. Even the Kevin Hart deal, all that stuff that he worked so hard for is all gone. And I don't know what to tell you. I apologize. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just spent all this money, time, effort, lawyers, contracts to get this for that. And he's like, well, let me try to put you through to linear, with them. And this was on their streaming and stuff like that. And it didn't go very far. Everybody got fired.
They used you to help their negotiations where they were like, hey, we have all these shows in development. I don't
think anyone in the bean counters give a crap about anything other than, unless that's going to make $4.8 billion loss they were in when they merged. Because Discovery had a $4.8 billion deal that was, unless we were going to make $4.8 billion, they didn't give a crap about any of it.
I was blaming Kevin Hart for most of those losses on his car show. It seemed like a questionable move when they brought in Kevin Hart as a car guy.
They were trying to, a lot of times if you looked, when I was talking to him, I won't say his name, but all that was his shows. They were trying to bring in the younger demographic because they were losing that lower deal, obviously what YouTube and the rest brings into it is that, the younger demographic, and they were trying everything and then bringing in stars. But needless to say, it all went away. And then I'm sitting here holding the bag going, oh my God, we just bought all this. What do we do with it? Yeah. And that was really the birth of PowerTube TV because the original part of the story was controlling your destiny. Garrett Mitchell controls his destiny. You control your destiny. Every time I seem to deal with a big company or corporation, whether it's Fox, Discovery, History Channel, they make the ultimate decisions. And once they get their hands on a brand, they control it. You no longer really have control. And same thing would happen with all the Pink stuff. All the original stuff was on a shelf somewhere. They could care less about it, but they didn't want to sell it for 5-7 years. And they didn't want $500,000 for just Pinks, but they'd rather let it just sit on the shelf. when I got the pink stuff, it showed up like the original beta and digi, because that's what it was done. It was before all this. Showed up on my front doorstep, literally in a box, busted with the sides open, no cushion, like 200 pounds of pinks, just all of it.
They cared so much about it, but then cared so
little about to ship it. I was so mad. Stuff's hanging out the side of the box, and I'm like, I saved the box, took pictures. I'm like, you're kidding me. For the money we spent on this is what we got out of this? And it was just insane. But yeah, so basically PowerTube TV is a way for myself and everybody involved in all of our shows and brands to control our own destiny. So we're on streaming, we're, Roku, Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, iOS and Android. We got to deal with TV, Direct TV now. We have 20 different international deals we're working right now for distribution. And I turn it on, turn it off when I want. No one's going to tell me I can't put anything on. And I'm a car guy, so it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? There is no big corporate person. I mean, when I make deals with shows or people, podcasts and stuff, you're generally talking to, Ray Eddings, who's a content development person, or myself. And we're the ones that ultimately make decisions where it goes and what happens with it. There's no 13 levels of this and 47 contracts and 100 different, lawyers involved. And then one day they decide, well, and you're gone. They don't care.
And the guy that thinks that he's in charge that then realizes
generally there's 47.
He gets fired and he's
there's 47. In the midst of 5 years, there's probably 100 different people that work the same job and know nothing about the original deal. There's no personal anything involved. I mean, I just had a meeting with Gil from GCD Customs, who does a show called Married to Rides. He calls me up, hey, what's up? He goes, yeah, we're going to do this and do that. Perfect, man. Oh, he goes, we're doing a big show at our shop. I said, hey, just get me the info. We'll share it right now. The personal one-to-one deal, I think, is what people appreciate working with PowerTube TV, because we care. Your success is our success. And as you know, making stuff like this, if you don't feed the beast, you got to keep making new stuff. People don't want to watch the same stuff over and over again.
It's tough. I mean, it's everything now. I mean, it's also just bringing it to a different location helps a lot of people too. And I'm sure you see that more and more where suddenly it's on Roku and now all these people find it.
Yeah. Our average watch time on Roku from a zero to an end is 47 minutes. So that means people are literally binge watching 3+ hours at a time. So it's a testament of good quality content that people actually want to watch. Once again, bringing back in those great shows that we already know, having Ray, weed through and find YouTubers and stuff like that maybe haven't gotten the algorithm grab them, but making really good content, bring them into the fold of PowerTube, and then he nurtures and works with them. We have a program called the Content Development Program, where basically we show him how to use the cameras, the setups. He'll actually go out there sometimes, show him an audio, proper lighting, and generally we'll get a show and it'll be and he'll send it back. And then by the time season 1's over, they really know what they're doing. And at that time, we now have a steady flow of great content that really holds up against anybody else. And we've given now the footprint of somebody from YouTube that doesn't have the reach to all over the world through Rokus and Fires, and they utilize that to get sponsorship and marketing partners.
And you're able to onboard these people effectively and new stuff. I like that, when I watched last night, I had it on split screen computer, and I like that it was a flow of content. Like I just hit play. And a lot of times when you're going on a streaming platform, you're scrolling on Netflix and you end up scrolling for longer than you're actually watching because you get this decision paralysis versus I didn't have to decide. I couldn't decide what episode I was going to watch, and I didn't need to. I just hit play because if I sat there scrolling through all of them, I probably would have never picked one.
And that's it's called the fast channel. So basically it's just like linear television, where we do every day. We have a noon to midnight schedule pre-made up every day. We have a primetime 7 to 11 where we put all our new shows on there. We market and advertise through social media and stuff. And we treat this, because it is like a true linear cable style network, but it's all through digital platforms from there, which is great and if you notice the way that we put together all of the apps and even the website, I call it a funnel. And basically what it is the main PowerTube TV channel has a mixture of everything. So you can watch whatever basically anything that's on there will be mixed in. We have certain nights, like it's build night. We have off-road night. We have, I think it's culture night, car culture, which is stuff like that. And then we have a rerun basically on Thursday of all the things that we aired during the week. But the main thing is, if you just don't want to watch what's on now, you slide down and basically you have racing, culture, podcast, and different choices. So then you go, all right, well, I'm only a race guy. Click on the race one. It's all racing.
Yeah.
And if you go to the website, you see a show you like, go down, these big thumbnails that go, each show has their own show page, and we give that to our content partners. Like if you had a podcast, if you took this podcast and we put it on there right now, your podcast would go out on a weeknight, probably on the podcast channel, depending on viewership. We've got on the main one, depending on what we have. We have a couple really big ones from there. But then, so you could watch your show on PowerTube during the week, right? You could watch it on the podcast in the mix all day long, 24/7. And then if they see that and they just want to watch, they slide down and click it. They go on the web, and basically all of your podcasts are there running 24/7, 365. So you could really narrow it out. It's basically a funnel. So yes, you do have to watch what we put on there, but you can work your way down to something that you like. Maybe this week you just want to watch build shows. Click the build one.
Yep.
Then you can watch Married to the Rides, GCD Customs, different things like that. And you say, wow, I really like that GCD Customs or Married to the Rides. Just watch all that. They've got 2-3 seasons you can watch through.
Well, that's what I did last night. I just watched racing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to watch some racing. I'm going to watch some pinks. And I was enjoying watching, them do that. And I hadn't watched it in a while. And seeing some of the older stuff was really fun to see. Just some of the builds of the cars was cool to see from like a new perspective looking back. Some of the game shows you guys were doing in between, betting on left lane, right lane, and
that's the all out live show we did. That was the intermediary or the bridge back to Pink's All Out and Pastime. We had to come up with something to do, and we couldn't use the name because we didn't own it.
Yeah.
But we tried to do something where we put something together. So we did a show we did about 3 years of it, and probably I don't know how many episodes, but a bunch of them, where basically it was just like Pink's All Out. And then we brought a pastime kind of version in there, or at least a game show. We simplified it so everybody could play along. Left, right. That's choose left, choose right, choose correct, win the cash. That's it. Fun.
And so I was also thinking on the back end, because I've seen some of these productions. I was there when they were filming this show Grudge Race, and the back end production just took so long. And I was like, man, it was 3 races, and I think it took 7 hours to figure out how to make 3 passes happen. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's a lot. So when we're doing PowerFest coming up, and you want to talk about an aggressive shoot schedule.
Yep.
So we have 2 teams. We have team 1, team 2, and I just literally went through. It took me 7 hours to do a run schedule on how to, because basically we're doing a live event / races / production and everything all into one deal.
And 2 different shows.
We're doing Call Out, which is our basically it's a grudge racing. It's going to be this version is obviously a no prep 8th mile deal from there. Small tire deal from there. So we'll have 16, which we might go to 32 because we have so many people that have signed up for applications for that. But you have to think, like you said, how do you film all that efficiently? So we have an actual dedicated shoot. There'll be somebody up in the tower with a switcher, and there'll be stationary cameras on there, 2 handhelds there. Their job is to capture everything that happens on the track or in and around the burnout box. Crew 2 is sitting out in the pit area. They're going to capture everything that happens in the pits, the smack talk and all the crazy stuff from there. And as well, we're shooting, so you got the Call Out V1, which will be probably maybe multiple shows or maybe one big special. Then we have the Pinks Lose the Race, Lose Your Ride 2.0, which is going to be 8 racers winning. Somebody's going to win all the cars. That will produce about 6 to 7 shows that will actually get out of there. Every time a matchup comes up, will be another show. And then we have Justin Nunley versus Sean Umshed. From there, they have a special. And then we have the Wreck to Race, which is another special. And then so we're doing all these shows, and it's all going to be captured because if I'm going to spend $150,000 to be out there, I got to get as much as humanly possible. Unlike the $380,000 to make one Pink's All Out in the past, I'm going to get 12, 13 shows out of it.
Yeah, and you have to be able to catch everything because
in 2
nothing
days
gets redone.
Yeah, no,
nothing can be reshot.
No, that comes back to it. That was one of the things that really people kind of gravitated towards the Pinks and Pink's All Out stuff, and that was Rich's big thing. Nothing was ever. There was no second tape of anything, never. And we do the same thing. If it happens, it happens. It'll organically, drama and different things like that from there. His job was to stir it up, and he did a great job doing that. But the idea that it happens naturally, and you could, you don't go back. All right, well, we're going to take, we know obviously some of the Street Outlaw stuff was staged and
they
set
fabricated a couple things here and there. So do you have 2 separate hosts then too? Because I know my buddy Brett Albury is hosting.
He's gonna guest host for the call out this time. Yeah.
And then you have to have 2 separate hosting positions.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Bruno Mazel himself will be out there as the new host. He's basically the new host of Pink's All Out.
Okay, very
He's
cool.
taking the place of Rich Christensen. Rich Christensen could have done it. But I think he's 60, 62 years old now. He's got 5 different projects going on. He's busy. He's out in Iowa. He has some health issues with traveling, and it just didn't make sense at this particular time.
Yeah.
Coming back, dragging him, because we plan on doing, this will be the first, and we hope that sponsors and viewers jump on this, that we're back on the road all the time doing this. But to drag him around and do that again at this particular stage, it just didn't make sense. And it was time, if we're going to bring it back, right? Pink's 2.0. New format, new host, new network. Let's start from scratch. So, and Bruno was a great choice.
Yeah. I think live events are really going to start to make a big comeback here. For a while, they kind of died off, a lot because of COVID, but also a lot because, entertainment was so easily accessible. Mm-hmm. But because it got so easily accessible, people are now seeking out real entertainment in person. So I think it's almost like a perfect positioning of the world's colliding back again.
Yeah, we waited. So we could have, I've owned this since 21. We could have done this at any time, but the idea was to wait till we got the network viewership high enough. So we're getting about, on our shows, just on Roku alone and just our web, and that's about it. We don't have metrics for the other ones yet because a lot of them don't show metrics, but we're getting about 160 to 180,000 shows watched per week.
Oh, wow.
So you add that with the mobile and with the other 2 apps, you're probably talking about 200,000. So we're about almost 1 million people watching shows, per month on our network. So now we have the viewership. There's no sense in pulling the trigger if nobody's going to see it. It's like, the whole thing, the tree falls over in the woods, nobody's here. Well, we finally got to that point. And that's why, like you said, the COVID deal's over. People have seen enough stuff in front of Netflix. They're tired. They want to get outside. They want to do something interactive. And live events are coming back. And I said, let's just do it. Let's pull the trigger. Let's try to come up with an idea. Originally, this was going to be a Pink's All Out, the first one we came back. And it wasn't supposed to be till September, but they had Rockingham scooted us back because they had a conflict with this new Pro Mod deal they're going. I'm like, oh, dude, I had September. It was almost perfect date. Yeah. And 4 months isn't enough time to put together a Pink's All Out. Last time we had 503 racers. There's a ton of logistics involved with that. And I just threw it out there. I said, we got this Pink's. I'll just throw Pink's 2.0 there. And it went ballistically nuts. And I said, all right, well, let's see if we do some casting. And in 3 days, we had 40 applicants sign up to be on Pink's, lose the race, literally lose their vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, of course, everything changes when reality sets in, just like the original show. We had, out of the 40, we had 20 go out, contracts go out. We had 16 signed contracts, which each one of them we did a face-to-face with them with Zoom or something like that. We explained everything. They got all the paperwork and an actual racer agreement with releases. Yeah.
So that's coming up. Everybody knows exactly what they're getting into.
But then all of a sudden, everybody started realizing that, yes, just like we had that question for Pink's, the original one, Pink's is real. You lose the race, you lose your ride.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of set in. There was a couple of guys from New York that pissed me off, punked out. They all thought they were going to come in and roll it because they were going to put, the good street racers. They were going to come in and roll the crowd, take all the cars. Then they found out that 3 of other ones in New York, other racers, actually signed up. Yeah. And they got scared of each other and they just went quiet and backed out. Signed contracts, everything, punked out. Oh, big excuses, this, that, and the other thing. So we lost 4 right off the bat. Okay, so now we're down to there. And then we had some other stuff. We had a guy that got cancer. Can't argue with him, sorry. Yeah. Another guy another guy had to go to military. Fine, that's good from there. Yeah. Now we're down to okay, we're skimming it down. We need 8. And last week alone, we lost 1, couldn't realize that he couldn't leave the state because of parole issues from a DUI.
It's a very Pink story, I feel like.
And then the other one that signed up, I got a mugshot sent to me. He went to jail.
Wow.
Yep. So that's the trials and tribulations of trying to run something that, is a big risk and then getting people to commit and then actually getting people to do it.
Well, it takes a certain type of architect to be prepared to lose your car. Yep. So it's
Yep.
It's understandable that some of them
yeah, no, I get it.
get
But
into some things.
yeah, no, exactly. We won't say characters, right? There's a certain character involved, and it's always the gambling guys.
Of
you know what I mean?
course.
From there. So, and that was the thing I always said. I'm like, okay, so all you big grudge racers out there, and I've seen you. I street raced in New York. I lived there, Fountain Avenue, Deer Park, whatever, all this stuff. In DC when I lived there, I went down there. I watched, bring the cooler out, the stacks, whatever you want to call it from there. They race for a lot more than cars, and I'm like, so all you big ballers out there that think you're, racing for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, put your car up. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
If you really have the biggest balls and you all want to talk a bunch of crap, put it online for Pinks. So we threw that out there, and some of the guys showed up and then some got chickened out. But the real guys that showed up, though, those are the guys we call them big balls racers. They are the ones. So when the guys they're coming out now to race on Pinks, when they get out there, should have a standing ovation for showing up because they all committed. They knew what they're getting into, and they're showing up, and they don't give a shit. They know they could build a car, race a car, drive a car that they feel confident enough to take anybody's car, whether it's on the street, no prep, small tire. They're showing up. So
you're a real grudge race gambler if
when
you
show up
ready to lose your car.
Right? They're all built cars just for this.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do, too, think about this. So when I did the show, if you know my history, I raced on Pinks twice. So I got about 3+ years of solid business just from being on the show because, wow, if he's confident enough to build a car to race for titles, I want him to build my car because he's obviously confident. Win or lose, you got balls big enough, you feel confident enough to put your reputation on the line, and I think a lot of the guys are doing that for their businesses because, hey, it's the ultimate test. If you are confident enough to do this, then why would you? I mean, if you had a shop that a guy, they both have equal, kind of reputations. This guy shows up Pinks and actually wins it. Who are you going to? That guy, big balls.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So what was your record then on Pinks? Have you lost some cars? You
Won
gained
one.
Some cars?
Lost one.
You got a car and you lost a car. Okay.
Yeah. And well, it was unique.
Did you win a car first? Because then you had 2 cars to then go.
No, it was separation. So here's the deal. I met Rich Christensen's. How this whole nutty shit started was I was walking through SEMA back in 06, and I walked past his booth, and there's Rich Christensen with this little bubble TV and a little VCR. That's how old it was, a VCR player. And he's there with Cal, his cousin, Cal the Finish Line. And, you're walking past and he's going, hey, would you race for titles? And I looked at him, I go, and I knew at that particular time, I had him open my business up in 89. It was already, I don't know how many years into it. And I saw the popularity of Orange County Choppers, and all these people were getting all this business from these reality,
like a
shows.
Jesse James at that point.
I was like, well, what's the deal? He's like, well, we're doing a show called Pinks and Race for Titles. Would you race for titles? I said, on TV? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah. And he looked at me like this. He's like, seriously? I go, yeah, I don't care. And he's like, okay, well, here's my card. I said, all right, here's my card. And SEMA was over, and right around December, I think it was end of December, January, I get a phone call from Rich. You still interested in the show? I said, when is it? What do we have to do? It was 3 weeks. 3 weeks to be in Orlando to race on Pinks for titles.
Wow. And
I said, because I'm a dumbass and I'm stupid, why not? Let's do it. And at that particular time, my shop was doing really well, and we had probably built 1 million Mustangs. We were in the beginning of that whole thing. I was in Pro 5.0. I built thousands of them. And I'm a pack rat when it comes to parts and building stuff. So we had a whole back room. You could build 20 race cars or cars out of it. And I said, sure,
What'd you specialize in then at that point?
Back then it was 5-liter Mustang. Fox body was where I started. I mean, I was street racing Fox body Mustangs in 87, 88. I had nitrous on a Mustang in 88.
And where was the shop?
My shop was actually in Maryland.
Okay.
ELD Performance right outside of in Crofton and Millersville and Glen Burnie had 3 locations we moved to from there. And
you had everything
I raced
already.
Pro 5.0 at that particular time. So, I mean, we were running 1,700 horsepower. We ran 750s and a quarter on a small tire on a Fox body Mustang, a single turbo back in the day.
A lot of the people I know kind of started from the same type of deal, So Job's better, Turbo People. And
Joe's my boy. Joe's to my car. That's, we're still great.
Oh, he's awesome. And even Hefner, Jason, he was kind of up in that area, 5.0 Mustangs.
Well, you want to know about Hefner, so ask Mr. Jason Hefner where he got to start. Jason Hefner got a job in my shop. I hired him. He was working at a Chrysler dealer as a tech and oil changer and stuff like that. And he came in, applied for a job. I hired Jason Hefner. He worked for me. We built a bunch of stuff together.
Yeah.
He was just a regular mechanic, and I saw him. I had a discussion about Jason yesterday. It was funny because people talk about things like, what's a good mechanic, or how do you know a good mechanic when you do it? Because I had 20-something years doing this. Jason walked in, we hired him. We put everybody on a 2 or 3 week deal, and you didn't get your uniform or anything till then. And Jason came in. The first job I gave him was to pull. He had to do, I forgot what it was, something on a Mustang, and he tightened the cylinder heads down and broke the head bolt off in the block. First job, right? So the difference between Jason Hefner and the rest of the applicants that came along was Jason stayed that night. Jason figured out himself how to get the head off, pull the stud out, redo it, and have that car ready to go the next day. And he got hired.
Nice.
So that's what you could tell when somebody knew what the hell they were doing. And he was young. I mean, we're talking about he was driving a blue station wagon that was his grandmother's, stuff like that. I mean, he was literally.
Well, hearing that story to me, it makes complete sense why he's now one of the most well-respected people in the V10 industry.
Yep.
Because of that simple stuff back then that still translates to now if you want your transmission or engine built right.
Yep.
Hefner tends to be the guy that does that.
Yep. No, he learned a lot and then took it on from there, and he moved to Florida and did this whole deal, got into the Viper stuff, and then basically got into the whole twin turbo stuff from there. Matter of fact, I was thinking about stopping by his shop on the way home or something like that.
Yeah, he's only like 15, 20 minutes from here.
Yeah. But so basically at that particular time, I had all the resources and I had guys working for me that we knew what to do. So Mustang was the first thing. So I did a Windsor 418 stroker. Trick flow, we were selling, pumping out the twisted wedge heads like nothing. They threw me some high ports and we put it together and we raced on Pinks the first one. We literally finished the car in, the first one was 3 weeks. I think it was 3 to 4 weeks we had it done. We had it on a trailer in a van. I had a van at the time with an open trailer, and we had working day and night to finish it. And that was half the fun, honest to God. It was more of a team building thing at that particular time to do it, because it brought all the guys in. We got pictures of the oil drain with all Red Bulls in around it and stuff, and like this, and people sleeping on the floor. We were sleeping overnight, working and sleeping in car covers.
Yeah.
And we literally loaded up the car. It wasn't even finished, and my mom was throwing away one of those recliners. We put that in the back of the van, so we had 2 people in the front, and one person would sit in the back and sleep in the recliner. God knows we got in a car accident, somebody dead. A matter of fact, I remember coming down to Florida. We raced at Orlando, and I'm sitting in a lazy boy, and I put my helmet on and put the helmet bag over it, and got some sleep on the way down to Orlando. And we finished that car in a Walmart parking lot in Orlando, and the TV crew came actually out. Was never seen on TV, but we were hiding the nitrous at that particular time, and nobody wanted to see that anyway.
Because it was all grudge stuff.
Oh, we knew we had. I mean, we didn't know what to do. Yeah. Take a 10-second car. Yeah, whatever. I mean. That was going to happen. We show up and there's the Woolly Mammoth and there's the other one. They want us to race the Woolly Mammoth. I'm like, no way. I'm like, that's a tube chassis, big block nitrous. We're a small 2810, Mustang with a small block in it, all metal. And we ended up racing a guy with a Nova and won that one. And then that ended, and everybody, it aired and everybody went nuts. And the shop was full. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call again. Rich, hey, Brian. Because I say what I'm going to do. I always have. If you get to know me, when I said I was going to be here today, what time I was here?
Yep.
12:01.
Yep. Right?
I'm here. I said I'm going to come. I'm going to do it. Same thing I've done with business and everything I do. Rich calls me up and says, we had somebody back out, same crap that are go through with this whole thing. You want to race again? And stupid ass bastard I am like, sure. I sold the Mustang. I didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, so I'm sure somebody wanted that. They saw it.
Oh yeah, it was quick too. It was a cool car. And I'm like, okay. So I got back to the shop. I go, guess what, guys? We're doing it again. And they go, with what? I go, I have no idea. So I called around. I called my body shop guy. He goes, hey, there's a F body, 2000 whatever it is. Remember the anniversary with the orange stripes with the houndstooth deer?
Yeah.
He goes, I was just at the junkyard. It's sitting there. Why don't we go grab that? And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, all right, whatever. We grabbed it.
F-body.
We pulled it, and in one night, stripped bare, went to the body shop. They got everything kind of pulled from there, and we built, I overnighted a stroker kit for a 3D3, and that was my downfall from there. Got out of a place in Florida, I'm not going to say the name of it. It's supposed to be a scat. It was a cat. We just sent it right to the machine shop.
Yeah.
It wasn't scat, it was cat. C-A-T.
So it was just nothing.
It was supposed to hold 900,000 horsepower. Yeah, whatever. So
I mean,
and
stock pistons and rods will do that.
So basically, we put a stock stroker back in this thing, and we used the LT1 version because I was tuning. I had tuning on the LT1, and I had a remote system. We were doing that, so we hand ported the LT1 intake, throttle body, got a set of trick flow heads, put that on there, nice cam, and I got a big nitrous kit this time. And I was going to do we just put it right in their front. We didn't hide it or anything like that. Put a glide in it. BMR sent me a full suspension kit. Mosier sent me a 9-inch because after you do the first one, everybody's throwing shit at you.
Yeah.
I got a transmission, and we built that thing literally, I've got pictures of it, from the junkyard to testing on the dyno, and I brought it to Capitol Raceway in 2 weeks.
Man, you got to
Caged
think,
it and everything.
where are these cars now?
Matter of fact, I sold to a guy named Jim Mans up there because I ended up buying the car back from the guy I lost to. But on the show, you could watch it. I made 2 hits on the dyno, rear dyno, with one motor, 2 with nitrous, that was it. Made a couple passes at the track to set the sway bar system up for the inner roll bar for the car, and then we just loaded up. I made the first pass, and the car would pull the wheels off the ground, the motor, boom, 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 and just a little bit of that. First pass, I went down there next to him. He took off he hit it with everything, twisted up. I'm like, oh shit! And I stabbed it, and when I stabbed it, bing, rod went right out the side of the block, and you couldn't really hear it.
Yeah.
It had a little. So we're looking for rockers and stuff. There's no way we uked this thing. There's no way we're not hitting it with 1,000 horsepower nitrous.
It's iron LT1, no way.
Iron LT1, right out the side of the son of a bitch, right at the pan. You could see it. And I looked at him and I said, and I don't know if they have it on. We said, and some of it was on camera, but was off. I looked at him. I go, if we're giving a car away, I go, there's nothing in the rules that say we have to give a car away just in one piece. I said, because what are we going to do? I go, shove a rag in it. I shove a rag in the hole. So we shoved 2 red shop towel rags in the hole in the side of the oil pan. And I said, go pull the bottles out, put 2 fresh ones in. Because if it's going all the way. I'm going to run the son of a bitch. I'm going to spray out of the hole. I said, if it blows in and hits the wall, I'm going to run out. I'm going to throw the keys to him and say, it's all yours. I said, I put the neck brace on. I strapped into the son of a bitch. Right? We do a burnout. He knew we were hurt. So if you watch the show,
I'm sure you could hear it.
Oh, it was right? And I'm pulling up, and I just, no burnout, and I went, pulled up, and I'm idling. And he's trying to make me blow up or just turn it off.
Trying to burn you down.
So he did like 15 burnouts. He pulls up and goes, boom, and blows the head gasket all over the ground. And my guys are like, he blew up. And I'm still around, I'm like, go, there, go. I'm like, ready to go. And they just wouldn't do it. And Rich had no experience about racing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could go. I'm dripping a little bit, but I'm going. If I break the beams, I'm gone. I win. He stopped it all, and then he's like, well, you broke first, and he broke second, so he gets the win. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm in the beams.
I don't give a shit. The car is running. I'll drive it back, drive it forward.
Who made him race director? They should have brought in a race director at least.
Made me so mad.
Because I know he's not the biggest car guy, and that's fine.
That's why he brought us on, because he didn't have a clue at that time.
Yeah, he was a host. He didn't have to be a car guy.
So we made a deal. We got the car back at the end, and I ended up, actually, they warranted the motor for me. When I got the car back,
that's not bad.
The people that built it, they warranted the motor. They built me another 383, and I sold the whole car to a guy named Jim Mans. He ran that car for 4 years, and then he sold it about 3 years ago from there. Yeah.
That's funny because, the LT1s weren't super sought after at the time. They are now just starting to get sought after because of grubworm and tick.
Oh, but I'll tell you, I worked on probably 1,000 of those things. It was always the distributors on those things. The front drive system on the thing would just uke out. We had everything in the world to make those things work.
Well, now you just ditch them all and run them like an LS, and you're happy as a clam.
There actually was a company that made a coil packs back then that we used, and we used the original trigger inside as the phasing for cylinder number 1, but it never caught on. It was expensive, and we used it, but that was the only thing. We tried MSD ones, whatever. It made it through the show, though. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. So what are the rules then? Is it small? Is it just a tire rule like for this current Pinks coming up?
So Pinks, so that takes you back to that whole thing of, people showing up with 10-second cars, people showing up with this, and then not showing up, and then having these really awkward deals. So I had many years to think about this. Originally, it was going to be all motor. That way, it was a motor. There was no cheating. You couldn't do anything. It was all motor. And I'm like, it's just boring. Let's open it up, but let's do it to 1 power adder. So you can have 1,000 stages of nitrous and 20,000 turbos and whatever from there. But so it's 1 power adder, small block, and then from there, first guy that signed up says, I'm going to put a billet block. I'm like, oh, no, we can't have that shit. Just because you have the most amount of money, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Stock block, stock stamping on the side, So that's the limiting factor. So the 5.360s, the 302s, the 350s.
Yeah, like even like a 2J or like a Honda motor.
Yeah,
Like
you can't bring in a built
long as
block.
it's stock, yep.
Can't bring an Iron Eagle. Can't none of that crap like that. You can't build that. So it's limiting factor number one from there. Then it's steel roof, quarters, doors. You could have a front nose. We don't care. It's got, it could be fiberglass or something like that. Rear hatch, original glass, things, whatever you have, whatever glass you want from there. But basically, it's 10.5-inch tire, no W, no W, and that's basically it from there. Any suspension from there on a 1/8 mile front side, no prep from there, and that should be the equalizing factor. We're going to allow people to have multiple, power headers, but that's all going to be negotiated in. That's part of negotiation. As a matter of fact, one of our sponsors, Nitrous Express, that's where Brett comes in, gave a nitrous kit to every single driver.
Really?
Every driver has a Nitrous Express kit on. And basically what he wanted to do, Brett and I were talking, I love that guy. He goes, let's put a big old easy button, like a big button they could smack, from there that, if they're down 2 races and they can negotiate the nitrous back in, they got the Nitrous Express backup on there from there.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. So you could be all nitrous and, from there, or you'd be turbo or supercharger and you could have that nitrous kit. And if, let's say you're getting drug, and we look at the numbers and, hey, you need something, give them the nitrous. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And it's so tough to try to get parity in something like this.
Oh, yeah.
And on a slick tire, definitely makes it a little different. Not on a radial tire, different cars, different level of racing. It's just 1/8 mile, no time, you said?
No time at all.
1/8 mile, no time.
So the times will be playing up in the tower to Ray Iddings, one of the guys who worked me on all the all-out shows. He's like a savant numbers guy, so he did all the setups for all the all-out live shows and all the stuff. So he knows splits, numbers, and he's been dynoing cars now. Him and I started at the same time. When I left in 2010, he had a shop up in Pennsylvania, McNew's Automotive. He's still dynoing. It's 26 years. He dynos every day. He knows everything about everything. He'll be up there, and what we're going to do is, in Bruno's ear, we're going to have a headset, and so the biggest thing is, remember the whole negotiation crap, and you said 3 hours to get one show done?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen here. They got 3 minutes. 3-minute countdown
Start
timer
the
to
clock.
negotiate.
Yeah.
It's going to be right behind them a digital board, and when it's 3 minutes is over, if they can't figure it out, Bruno will have the final say, and he'll go to Ray, say, all right, what's the numbers you're seeing up there? Give me some rough idea. They said they're at 4 and 6. Are we split in the middle of 5, or is this guy just sandbagging and bullshit and everything?
Yep.
And he's going to go, listen, he's running 15 miles an hour faster. You could tell this other guy's just scrubbing off time. He's sandbagging the whole deal. If you give him 5, he's still going to win by 1. Give the other guy the 4, let it go from there, and call it. So the thing is, you better, if you want that race in your favor, get it done. It has to be done in that 3-minute time.
So he's going to kind of play like
devil's advocate.
Yeah, and I was also thinking like what was it, Deal or No Deal, the guy up in the tower where he's like, he makes the phone call almost.
Yeah, we couldn't do that with Rich because Rich didn't know damn thing about racing in cars. I mean, he learned after years, but when Pinks first started, I mean, he didn't even know how to change the oil on a car. But with Bruno Mazel now, he knows you can't bullshit that guy.
Well, I was thinking negotiations too, because when I was on that grudge race show, the negotiations were taking so long, and then they were like, okay, let's race to the 1,000-foot. And then the producers had to step in and be like, no, we actually spent too much time setting up our cameras
at a quarter mile.
So we can't now, we don't have enough time to switch to 1,000. So that negotiation's off the table. And it was just so funny that there was these negotiations going on, but you almost had to negotiate with the camera crew also.
And that's why I went 1/8 mile and everything on there is 1/8 mile, because it honestly, for us to go a quarter mile camera creates another fiber line that goes all the way out. And then somebody has to be manned in there, and just to go back and forth, it's just not worth it. An 1/8 mile between you and I, it makes it move faster. It makes it less chance of blowing stuff up, because oil downs and stuff take time in production. And then next thing you know, we're sitting here paying these camera guys to go, and I'm going, oh my God, we'll be here till 4 o'clock in the morning. So we, learning all of these things from the previous Pinks, people not showing up, all the cheating, all the mismatches because somebody didn't show up and we had to pull anybody we could in. By basically laying out rules, not just take a 10-second car. No, here it is. These are the rules. You all know what it is. It's a popular deal right now, no prep. It's an equalizing factor. It takes a lot of that. It's going to come down to a driver and somebody who knows how to set up a no prep car really well.
Yep.
You could make 1,800 horsepower.
Well, that's
it doesn't
why
make
the
it down.
1/8 mile is also nice, because you can't just horsepower out the back. It's like, then the 106 millimeter turbo kicked in. And I came around him.
Yeah, and that's why with Hondas and stuff like that probably wouldn't do real well in the 1/8 mile on this stuff, because they're all...
Unless they were all-wheel drive, which would be bold to take into a deal where you might lose it, and being a Honda.
Yep.
would be questionable.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you think these cars just? You may not want to talk about it, but are we talking 6-second cars, mid 6-second cars, maybe low 5, like mid 5-second cars?
I'm going to tell you, they're not going to be slow because the people that are signed up. I mean, if you look at all the guys that we have right now on there, they're not playing around. I mean, will they be able to negotiate getting down through there in 5 seconds? I'm sure. What part of the 5 seconds, whether it's the top half or the mid, I don't think you're going to have a 490 car. I think you'll have a 550 to a 650 range from there, and the track's going to dictate it from there, and the negotiation is going to pick up from there. And remember, it's an arm drop. I watched 1 billion arm drops in my life. Generally, because I was the numbers guy up in the tower for 4 years, an arm drop can make 2 to 3 tenths, not hundreds, tenths from somebody's.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. It's like, dude, your car's faster. You're just sleeping.
Well, also, if you have a turbo car, arm dropping is a little different too than the nitrous guy that can just sit there off idle basically and go right on down there.
Yeah, they played that game. Billy Glidden played that game with us when we did Pro 5.0 with that stuff. He would come in, bump in, and then come back out on us because he saw we'd start to pull in.
Yeah.
And then he'd just pull and then go wait. And then as soon as we backed off the two-step, he would pull in, and go.
Man, a lot of people get mad about that. It's like, oh, he was playing games on the tree. It's like, yeah, that's where the games get played, and it's part of racing.
And that's where
the fans love it.
And that's where Spetter came in with the third step. So basically, we'd go in, I bump in on the bump in, and go into the two-step, and then we'd have another button that would click it down to a third step. So when Glidden or one of the guys pulling a nitrous car, we just hit the button to make it sound like we were powering down. He'd pump in, we just pop right back up and we were on it.
So make it sound like it was.
You weren't bumping out of it. You were just bumping a little R down, and as soon as they heard the R's come down, the nitrous car would pull in, and I just go pop it right back up again. Boom.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, we had to. We're getting killed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everybody fall for it.
Well, turbo technology's come so much farther too, so it's like so much easier and quicker to get these cars on the brake than it was once.
We didn't have adjustable sprags or anything like that. I was going through sprags like nobody's business. Went to a spragless converter, and that was the only thing that worked and lived. But it wouldn't mile per hour because there's no diode to lock down. But it'd make thousands of passes. I had 300 passes on a transmission and converter without having any issues. Pulled apart, clean, put it back together again.
Yeah, I know. Similar to my transmission guy, Jason, and ATF, he is so diehard on transmissions. When he starts talking about like his years of it, is so crazy to hear what he had to go through from. Because I'm younger than a lot of these other guys that I have raced with, so I like to hear the trials and tribulations that aren't widely known. It's not like this stuff is available on Wikipedia or you can go read about it. You got to hear from the source what they had to experience to get the technology to where I get to enjoy it.
Oh, you guys, I always said this. I said, so I would go 750s, whatever, mid 750s with that car, 100 and only 84, 85. With the spragless converter because it never lock up from there.
Yeah.
And I would do that with a 12-point cage on a small, 20, I have a W tire or a regular 13. I had a bigger tire from there. And the car was all metal except for the hood and deck lid and windows. We had no boost controls other than Bill Devine's brother made one out of dials and knobs from a compressor with little timer tick downs. Our boost control was basically on the top of the wastegate. Basically, we'd go through the knobs and the timer would tick down, open a valve. So stage one was one, and the little timer go click, 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 and open up another one and move to this knob.
Yeah.
And that was our boost. That was all we had.
It was just time based, and you hope that it started at the right time.
At 0.5, 100, you would click in the second stage from there. And when I first started, I had a turbo on a Mustang back in '90. People didn't even have them.
Yeah.
And my first pro car there was no boost controller. I was experimenting with putting a boost controller myself. I put a nitrous solenoid to the top of the wastegate and then triggered it into the MSD by RPM. So you'd come out of the hole on the brake and then it'd go up and then the MSD switch would hit it, open up the nitrous solenoid, dump the air down, pound the wastegate down and go up from there.
Yeah.
But it was so inconsistent. It was very hard to do, but it was, I don't know if anybody else tried it, but that's what I did. But just trying to get down through there,
Well, you were trying it on things, and now it almost seems like boost control so figured out that everybody's switched to getting deeper into trans controls, and there's so many
guys
little
have it
things
so easy, you bastards. You've got traction control, transmission control. You've got
every sensor in the world.
Every sensor. Only sensor I had was we didn't even have a wideband was just coming out. We had EGTs in each header, And I had a little, looked like a calculator on the dashboard, and you could switch between the EGTs so you could adjust the damn thing out. Adjustable regulator, and Excel Gen 7 was the latest and greatest thing out there, and that was it.
I still know a ton of people that are refusing all this new stuff, though. And they're still like, I'm going to race with just my screwdriver. There's a lot of that still, somehow. Somehow, there's all this tech.
Just imagine if we had a tenth of the technology. It took many years for people to go. I mean, mine was 342 inches with a 101 turbo was the biggest they had. And that 101 was a Turbonetics, and it probably wasn't even really the flow characteristics of a 90 right now, an 88. And we would go mid-sevens in the quarter mile at 180 something on small, big, doesn't matter what it was. And just imagine if I had anything you guys had. I'm just jealous. I
always think about this story of, like, somebody was telling me, they're like, yeah, the early turbo cars were at Ducks Race one time, and this big block turbo car showed up, and he started spooling it after his burnout as he was rolling it into the beam.
You could not.
He was keeping it lit, trying to spool it up as he got it to the beams.
I could tell you, and I won't say any names, but we all know it in the Pro 50 world, there was fire extinguisher bottles in Pro 50 cars that were not fire extinguishers. They were using nitrous to spool them because we couldn't get them up. There was no converter technology that could figure out how to spool the car. You'd literally be in there. It would sometimes until we started playing with cam timing and different things like that, and actual literally timing to get it to work, it'd be minutes.
Yeah.
And you're pulling and you're skidding forward into the your first beam, not the second one.
Yeah.
And then pull it in, and finally get it going. And it was terrible.
It's funny. So you're talking about Pro 50, and a lot of my younger people that also watch this are probably thinking Coyote, but you're not talking about a Coyote.
No, we're talking about 302 roller-based motors from there, and that was it. I mean, that was the back of the Dame's Gene Deputy. I mean, Bill Devine, Racing Jason, all those. We were the pioneers of this stuff. You guys all worked off the back of the mess and crap that we built from there, and that's where the NMRA started. I was in the first 3 years in NMRA. I raced in there, and NMC had just started from that point from there, and it was we invented a lot of stuff. We were the guinea pigs. Now I'm waiting. I'll just wait and roll in real quick. Like I've got a Godzilla motor, right?
Yeah.
I was ready to start doing stuff about a year ago. I'm like, you know what? Sit back, let you guys figure it out. Over the last year, the damn things have so many parts now available, and the horsepower's doubled. I'm like, okay, I'll just wait another 6 months and let you guys figure it out. I'm not going to be the guinea pig anymore.
Yeah, there's already oil pans now and intakes, and they make great horsepower.
Yep.
They seem like they're about 1600 is where they start to, which is very, very healthy horsepower. I hate to make that sound like it's not a lot, because it's a lot.
Yeah, a good horsepower when I was building, like in the final years before I sold the business, that's when the Terminator cars came in. For us to make 750 to 800 was huge. We did it on the Terminator cars. On a small block Ford, Vortec or Pro Chargers, we had the first Novi superchargers when they first came out. We would make, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 horsepower. That was big horsepower.
Yeah.
Now you get that in a Hyundai.
Yeah, now
it's pretty sad.
That's like bolt-on stuff for a Coyote car, or like even like some of the Godzilla stuff.
But it took us to do it before you got it.
Somebody had to do it
first. You're all welcome.
I was going to say, I actually like when some of the tuners that I've worked with in the past are from that era, because they have a different level of knowledge that some of the newer tuners don't. Yeah. Job, he was dealing with that.
Job has seen every iteration of a Mustang or a Grand National or anything in between, even the import stuff. He's done it all.
Same with my tuner Alpha, who tunes my 2J car. He was around the New York area for a long time, tuning on like AEMs when they first came out. And like, if you got a tuner that dealt with those struggles, your struggles right now are going to be a light work. They're going to be good struggles. Yeah,
it's good stuff. I mean, it's just a great time to be in the automotive business when it comes to like, or it's a good time to be in the automotive recipient of it, because there's so much technology and it's so accessible. Other than the EPA coming down on everybody's ass for stuff.
Yeah, hopefully.
Other than that, I mean, it's just fun. You could buy a new 5-liter Mustang and make 700-800 horsepower without even thinking about it. I'm like, blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, the classes, though, on the backside of that have gotten so fast that now, like, the slow entry-level class is 530, which is fast.
What's fast?
Like a 530 eighth-mile car. People don't realize that's fast. It's easy to do relatively, but it's still a very fast pass. Like
and think about what they're going to bring to this Pinks race. I mean, they're going to put junkyard 5.3s together with probably a nice set of cylinder heads and a camshaft in this thing, throw a turbo from somewhere, any probably leftover, and make 1,300 to 1,500 horsepower without even thinking about it. And probably for under $10,000, the whole damn thing. Yep. I think a lot of them don't even have 15 grand in the whole build, which is insane.
I believe that.
Because there's so many right now with the market, there's so many old rollers from these old, super stocks or even just bracket cars out there. They buy them for like $4,000 or $5,000 with 9-inch rears and everything in fuels and cages in them, dropping a 5.3 with a turbo, find a good converter and transmission, and there you go.
Well, even the off-the-shelf parts, you go to like a more race chassis, you get your whole cage kit, deliver it to your door, tack it in, and you got yourself a cage within a day. Yeah,
it's gonna be fun to watch these guys. Obviously now it's been how many years? I mean, it's 15 years to see the iteration of the changing of what you watch. Go and watch the old shows, see what they brought to the table, and then in a month, come watch what they're bringing to the table now, and then put them side by side. You're going to realize that, wow.
It's just old Fox bodies that are now older now.
It's the same money. It probably, investment was pretty close to being the same in each one of the cars, but the performance level is probably 1,000 horsepower more.
There's still going to be Fox bodies. Still going to be a bunch of Fox bodies.
You'll see.
Oh, okay, cool. What I also liked watching on the old show is there's a bunch of bracket cars.
Yep.
Which is funny to see, like these bracket cars heads up racing like that is an interesting one.
Yeah. Doug Johnson's bringing the Grumpy Twin, which is a Monza.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple of guys that tickled what they're coming out there with. One was a Ford Explorer 2-door, and there's a Fox body Mustang involved there. But the other ones are being real quiet. So I don't know what's coming out, but there's supposed to be some freaky stuff. They're all having fun with it, which is great.
Yeah.
So they want to bring unique cars out for people to see. Remember, look, we had the Woolly Mammoth. You remember have you seen that episode, which is the Vega? So when you get a chance, you'll see go watch Pink's, and you'll see where Charles Hendricks brought out the Woolly Mammoth, which became famous in Pink's, and then was on 2 or 3 other shows. He took a old bracket car, Vega station wagon, and covered it in black hair. It was called the Woolly Mammoth. It actually hair you could comb it, and shows up to Pink's with that. So they're all going on that. I want somebody to go out and buy the hair and put a mohawk on one of their cars and stuff and have fun with it.
Maybe
have
a mullet on the back of it now.
Have some fun with it. That's the fun.
So also the difference is you're not just getting one car.
No.
And now that's a big caveat that you haven't said yet.
So original Pink's, you go watch it on PowerTube TV. You'll watch all of them. Every single one was car for car. You want a car, you want a car. On this one, it's King of the Hill. And that's new host, Bruno, new network, us, new format. So now we have 8 racers, all signed up, ready to go, all building cars. They're all going to show up. When they show up, there's going to be a helmet, and they're going to pick their chips out of there, 8 numbered, 8 blank. Number 1 gets to call out anybody or choose who he wants to race on the side from there. There's your round 1. So you'll have 4 races. They go up and race. Let's say I race you, 3 out of 5, no prep, negotiation, 3-minute deal, just like we talked about.
Yep.
I win. I take your car, right? Now I got your car and my car. Everybody else races in round 1. Everybody from round 1 moves on to round 2, right? You've all got cars. You could race the car you brought or the car you won, but both of those cars' titles are up for grabs. So if you make it past that round, you're taking into the finals. Each person will have 3 cars and their own.
Yeah.
In the finals, 3 out of 5 for all the marbles.
So you can keep your car and be like, I'm just going to race this car, and if I lose his car, I don't really care. I still got my car.
No. Every car is up for grabs. One person takes everything.
Oh, yeah, one person.
So when you
takes
go
all
into
of
the
them.
finals,
Got it.
you'll have your
Forgot
car,
about that part.
3 cars. You could. So he was always.
So you want to race the fastest car because you're going to lose them all regardless.
Whatever happens, choose the one you think is going to be best for your competitor.
Yeah.
You would be wise, gentlemen, whoever's racing, to make sure that you have 6 crew member, that your 6th crew member would be the person that you just beat to show you where all the buttons are and all the stuff on how to race it. Because if you are going to race his car, you want to know that you fit and you know how to use it. But also, it's one of those things that we talked about, knowing what happened in the history of Pink's. A lot of times, if you watch one of the last shows we did was, I think it was breakdowns, backouts, and something, where basically somebody came out and broke on the first pass and we didn't get a show. Well, that doesn't happen anymore, because if you break the car in the first pass, you got 2 more to choose from. If you make it past the first round, no one should ever lose by breaking unless they just break every goddamn car that they win. And
Yeah,
then
there will be a race.
Yeah, there will be a race. Someone will race. There will be a final, and somebody will take it. Whether the cars are blown up, they're taking home or something, but they're taking everything home.
Well, and you have 2 cars at that point, so you can piece something together.
Yeah, in the finals you have 3 cars.
Yeah,
4
so
total.
if something's broken on one car,
And you got about an hour or so in between each one. Fix it. Do it quick. Get it ready to go. Learn how to sit in it.
Couple
Adjust the
parts
seats,
cars.
weld on a bracket, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
From there. So, and at the end of the show, we've got a great sponsor, E-Car Mover. We've got an actual stacker 18-wheeler sitting there, car transporter sitting on there. So Bruno's going to walk up to the winner and say, where would you like your cars taken? Give him the address, and that car is going to take. The final scene will be, on the finale, will be that truck taking away all the cars back to somebody's, whether it's Texas, Omaha, wherever they are. It's going back there.
That's awesome. That's going to be really interesting to see somebody show up with 8 cars, just
all theirs.
Junk. Mostly are going to be thrown together.
But you won them.
You won them.
You're going down in history. Imagine that, though.
Oh, I mean, between all of them, I'm sure there's one worth of great car.
Yep.
Between motors, chassis, turbos, you could probably piece together one really great car.
You probably have well over $150,000 worth of cars sitting there plus.
Yeah.
And this is where it was weird because I would have thought maybe like a Garrett Mitchell or somebody would have called this up and said, this is perfect for content. Think about building a car for this as content, right? All the way up to there, the trip to there, your experience at it, and then racing in something like this. We got a phone call. I got an email from a couple of the guys from Motor Trend, their old shows from there, and they just couldn't make it happen. They're on the Hot Rod Power Tour deal or something like that. Not enough time. Tony Angelo, we reached out to him. He was all interested in doing it, just didn't have time.
Yep.
And David Newburn from Newburn Cotton.
Yep.
David contacted us up, but he's doing a cruise on, I saw he's doing the Hot Rod Power Tour or one of those deals.
Oh,
He must got a gig with them.
Come on, Newburn.
Yeah, right? But yeah, no. I mean, hell, we'll still take somebody. Gary, you want to build a car real quick? You got a month.
I might be able to convince James to take his other black 240 shit box that he's got.
Throw it in. We'll do, if we have to, we'll do a runoff to get to the final 8 from there.
Yeah.
We're always open to bring it in from there, but we're always open to bring backups because you never know.
Yeah.
Something could happen on the way there. Something could happen in testing, and then we're down from 7. I want to make sure we have a clean 8 field to work all the way through. If we have 9. We'll do a runoff. We'll do some chip deal where somebody raced there, and then we just got another car to give at the end. That's all.
Having an alternative would probably be.
Yeah. We never had that in Pinks. It was always. If you watch the video I put up on our Facebook the other day, that one was behind the scenes of poor Nate, just going, this guy showed up and he's like, I'm not racing that car, and he just backed out at the last minute, and that's why we didn't get a lot of the shows. Yeah, I'm
sure that would happen pretty frequently. It might happen.
It might happen to us.
Yeah.
We had a guy show up, and I had to help with Nate with casting on the last one, and we were up in New York at Lebanon Valley, and I remember being in a hotel room with him, and the phone rings. It's the guy that was going to race. His engine builder figured out that it's real, and you lose your car, and he says he pulled the motor that night. So he said, I have a car, but got no motor. I goes, what do you mean? We're racing tomorrow. He goes, I don't have a motor. So Lebanon Valley, we didn't get our last show.
Yeah.
And that's why we had to do the breakdowns, and we made a show out of the people not showing up. We had one guy show up, I think, in MIR, and he rolled the car there with no motor and gave the guy the title. Says, I'm a man of my word. I showed up with a car.
Wow.
I just don't have a title, so here you go. So they were going to sell it and give it to charity or something like that. He manned up. So these guys, these punk outs that signed up and didn't show up, I got no respect for people like that. The guys from New York, you let me down. I'm from New York originally. That was
same.
You sign up.
Friggin' New Yorkers.
Yeah, you sign up. You sign a contract. I'm a man of my word. You show up with a car, no car. You show up, and from there, those guys pissed me off so bad.
I grew up on Long Island, so I know Long Island.
Where Long Island?
Montauk.
Okay, I grew up in Holtzville. I went to Station High School.
Yeah. So 18 years old, I left Long Island, and I was like,
I left at 20.
Yeah, there wasn't enough racing. There wasn't enough.
So
it's also
you're way younger than me. So back in the day, Deer Park Avenue 231 was the cruise spot, and we street raced down all the way to the end from there, and then on 106, 107, and then we'd go to Queens, which was Fountain Avenue. We raced on Fountain Avenue.
Okay.
Which go look up on YouTube. All you YouTubers, you kids, go look up Fountain Avenue, New York street racing.
I've heard of it.
That was some crazy stuff back then. It had a dip in the end with a manhole. You just fly, and sparks would fly at the end. Yeah. So we'd be at Deer Park Avenue every night when I was in high school, and even in college, I'd go out there and race my 5-liter Mustang.
Well, now the only place to race on Long Island is in Calverton. They have that makeshift drag strip, but there's you can only go 650s or something, and it kind of
Yep.
It's
Montauk
unfortunate.
had a race when I was out there. I raced out on there. That's when first place I raced a car was actually all the way out east on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Because there's not much car stuff out there. It's just fishermen.
They turned it into a golf course.
Okay.
Yeah, you would
Makes
never
sense.
know. You weren't even thought of back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how old I am.
I was born in 94, so if that helps.
Yeah, I graduated in '86. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be Pink's is going to be great. Brent's handling the small tire stuff. That call out stuff's going to be nuts. That's another format too that we never even talked about. So basically, it's the same idea with a chip draw. So every round you go, we're doing that chip draw deal, but you call out anybody on that side. So every round you go through, you get to choose who you race by
so
a call
it's
out.
strategic.
Yeah. Are you going to
Take
choose
somebody that maybe hurt their car a little?
You're going to go safe, or you're going to take on the big dog from there.
Yeah.
And we do the banter back and forth. We shot a bunch of these already. We've got it up. If you go onto PowerTube TV, you go up. It's all out live in the call out. You'll see that show on there as well. We're going to shoot that. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
So also my understanding was there may be a fan that ends up behind the wheel of a car.
Yes. So that's
Somebody in the stands.
Yep.
Like
So-
a spectator drags almost.
somebody is getting a car. So we just gave away. So if you watch our network and all this stuff, we just did a giveaway. Matter of fact, I just got on the way here. Just got the winner. We gave away a 1965 Candy Apple Red Mustang that I owned.
Oh, cool.
We just gave it away. We're going to announce it probably tomorrow or next day. It was such a good success. Everybody loved it. I said, you know what? We're working with Justin Nunley and Sean, and we got a powertrain product stepped up, sponsored the whole thing. So those cars are pretty much bought and paid for from there. And I said, you know what? Instead of giving the keys to the loser, so it's basically an influencer kind of race. It's a USA versus Canada. Sean's in Canada. They're going to race for titles, and when it's all over, they're going to come out there, and the owner of Powertrain Products, Eddie Simon's, going to come out. And he's got this big engine block box, and in there, when you come in the gate, you're going to get a little raffle ticket. So anybody on the premises, come out to the race. If you want to come out to PowerFest, you're not going to want to miss it anyway. But this is just
Is this the one in Rockingham? Right?
Rockingham, North Carolina, June 13th and 14th, coming up
awesome
in 1
track.
month from today. So you come out there, you buy a ticket online, you come out to the race. If you're sitting out in the stands, it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock on Saturday night. Mr. Eddie Simon's going to pull one of those out, and whoever won, the loser's car is going to be given to somebody in the stands. So it's either going to be an S10 that's built with a 6-liter LS in it that Powertrain gave to him, or it's going to be this, I think it's a Cutlass or something, a Buick he's got built with an LS in it too. Somebody's taking one of those cars home.
And I mean, realistically, what is that going to be? A 1 in at most 10,000 chance? I mean, how many people fit at a drag strip?
Right. I hope we have 30,000 people there.
I don't know how big those. Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome. I was just imagining like
so I mean,
like
your
a full
odds-
drag strip is not as many people as like these online giveaways are.
Nope. You walk in that door, and when you come in, you're going to get your wristband, and you're going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
And if you buy a shirt, if you go to our merchandise stand and you buy a shirt, we're going to give you a ticket for every piece of merchandise.
Okay, so you
buy
get
for
more
that.
tickets.
Get more tickets.
Yeah.
If you're standing up there, I'm telling you, I did the schedule. If we go on schedule, 7:30 to 8 o'clock on Saturday night, your ass better be there, because someone's going to win a race car, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So they're going to have to go home with a race car.
Yep, they come pick it up the next day. Or whenever you get a chance, come get it. I'm sure we can work it out Rockingham to store it.
So wait, it's the S10 that Nunley's building, and what is I saw
Skylark or something, Buick Skylark from there. It took him, he drove, I think, like 20 hours to pick up that Skylark, because in Canada, he's in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
There is no race cars.
He's been on the show before.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So no,
I know him. I just don't know Nunley.
Nunley is, did you know that's his gig?
Yeah.
That's his gig from there. He's got a huge following. I think like 9 million on TikTok.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
Yeah, he's fun. They're both fun guys to work with. We're also going to do on Thursday. You should come out. I mean, everybody come on out. Thursday, we're going to have a party at Texas Roadhouse, sponsored party out there for all the racers. So you get to meet Nunley, all the Pinks racers, all the call-out racers, meet and greet, some drinks, beers at Texas Roadhouse right there in Aberdeen, North Carolina, which is about 20 minutes from the track. So we're going to have fun throughout the whole week. I mean, starting on Thursday all the way through.
What else is going on at the track? So is it just those two, or are you going to have some test and tune in between there, some other cars, or just what you got going on, just the show? So we've got the two shows from there, and then, of course, we brought in the kids' Power Wheel Racing. You saw that probably last night. We did a whole interview on that. So they're going to be out there doing some exhibition. They're going to have a little track set up outside in the pit area from there. We also wanted to do, so this is PowerFest, and this is from PowerTube TV. So one of the main ideas when we started was to kind of give an idea of our viewers of what they could watch on the network. So one of the shows we have is Gassers,
One of the shows obviously is the Call Out. One of the shows is Pinks, and we wanted to bring others out. So we have a new show we're trying to work with right now. It's Big Rig Racing, where they do it.
Yep.
So there's going to be a couple of big rig racers out there. Premier Mega Truck is on there. Mega Trucks is a show we have on there, which is those 1,500, 2,000 horsepower mud racers side by side.
That's cool.
They're going to be out there. We're going to let them go down the track with those psychopathic things. So they'll be out there as well. And we have gassers. We got 10 gassers out there. So in between, to give the camera crews time and let the host break a little bit, there will be gassers racing, mega trucks, kids, all kinds of exhibition going on.
I'm happy to hear this because one thing, I love drag racing, but for the most part, it's boring.
Oh,
and I think a lot of people don't want to accept that. Your NHRAs don't want to accept that. Your purist drag racers don't want to accept that it's slow moving, it's boring, it takes all day. So you need more entertainment.
Yep.
Somebody like Garrett Mitchell, again, he's great at understanding there's more entertainment needed.
Much kudos for him because I've been in this business for many, many years, and I've helped a lot of tracks out. And I have this one conversation with all the track owners, and you should all listen. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I do know something.
You've been to
it's not a drag strip. It's an entertainment facility. And when you start concentrating on taking care of the fans, meaning women's bathrooms, facilities that are good parking, decent food, not some slop that's going to put you in a bathroom that's disgusting.
You can say women's bathroom 10 more times.
Yeah, that's it. If mom's happy, wife's happy, they're coming back and it can be more enjoyable from there. MIR, biggest, if you go to Maryland International Raceway, that's a Royce. If you go to his bathrooms, they're like the Taj Mahal.
They're air conditioned in the summer.
Yes, he knows it because you got to keep the fans happy. Same thing when it comes down to it. If it's these tracks that are bought by racers and cater to the racer, they fail. Sorry, because every racer wants something for themselves. If you treat it like an entertainment facility, bring in events that entertain people, and bring in people like us that know how to make events that are fun and exciting. Not just I heard a lot of stuff at Street Outlaw stuff, and the first times they did some stuff, there was a lot of downtime in between.
Yeah.
And it's great because all you saw on the TV set was all the good stuff. At the live events weren't that exciting. One thing that we strive at is to keep fans entertained. Telling what's going on. Even on the TV side, this is one thing we did at Pinks All Out. Everything kept flowing. There was never downtime. Even when it was downtime, when I picked the final 16, we had exhibition going on while they were rigging the cars with cameras and stuff. You got to entertain the people and keep them excited and keep them in the stands happy. Just sitting there, like you said, watching paint dry or waiting is the worst thing in the world. We're gonna put on not just TV. We're gonna put on an entertaining event that every time if you're not here, you go out in the pits and watch the kids race. If we don't have an exhibition going here, if not, there will be cars going down the track.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because even with the call out deal, the idea is if you get knocked out the first round, we have open call outs.
Yeah.
So if we go, oh shit, I left a lot of cushion in for oil downs. Hey, we need to pick up 15 minutes. See if you got, and they'll have a call out. All right, pull up car 16, 17, they got a call out, and you'll make a big hype out of it. We'll get them out of the cars. We'll talk about, hey, why did you call him out? What's the beef? Mm-hmm. And talk to the fans. And that was one of the biggest things. In season, when we did Pinks, Rich never spoke to the fans. It was just always shooting TV. When we went to Pinks All Out the first season, he never had a mic on him that went out to the loudspeakers. So you'd have to, people were like, what are they saying? Were they negotiating?
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out.
And I talked to him, I said, we put a mic on him, and then now I said, and I'm in his ear the whole time because a lot of stuff he heard, I was his chirping bird, and, for numbers. And I go, tell him what's going on. Let him know that we had a fire in generator 7 for the lights, and we can't shoot proper television without it. You let him know that.
Yep.
They'll go get a hot dog. This is your time to take a break. We got to fix this because we got to make sure that these racers are properly lit because we want to make sure that they get the proper time in front of the camera from there and people understand. So I'm going to be out there like the circus mouth, and basically my job is not going to be on camera to like I was before in the past, is to basically ring like the showmaster. I'm going to say, I'm going to walk out and go, thank you all for coming out. This is how it's going to go. You're going to see cameras everywhere. There may be some downtime. We'll let you know. Take the break. Take the kids. Get something to drink. Go buy some merchandise. Check out the exhibitions. Anytime we can get something down the track, we're going to have it. If we have an oil down, in between, you'll see camera resets. There's going to be times when we have to change all the cards in them. They might be 10, 15 minutes. Guy runs down the track. Got to change from here. we have to get the cars basically in place so that when we get, we strike,
Yep.
Bruno's standing here, racers are here. It may take 3 to 5 minutes, but I'm going to let you know you're all going to be part of this process. So you're all part of the show. You could all be on TV. You could yell and stuff, but you're going to know exactly what happened at PowerFest at any particular time. No one's going to sit there and go, oh, what the hell is going on? Waiting. What's coming up? No, you will know what's going on, and it's going to be fun. We're going to get more fan interactions. We're going to give a bunch of throwaways, get them out there, talk to them, tell them what's going on, put them in front of the camera. You could be on camera with all your pink stuff, like we did in the past. Just have fun. It's been a few years. I'm looking forward to doing this one, and I think we're in a great position. I think we have 2 great crews to cut this. I think we've got a great new host. Brent Albury's fun. All the people we worked with in the past are coming back to help us, so they all know what they're doing. It's going to be a great event.
I think the location-wise is really awesome location, too. It's kind of centralized to a lot of people in a racing area where they love racing. And to think more of an event, I always tell people the most people that show up at BMP, you know what race it's at? It's at the Christmas tree race. Yeah. That's when it's the most filled that you'll see it. They have pro mods, they've had top fuel, they have all that good stuff, and they all fill up. But the most full, the most lines you'll ever see is when there's a bunch of guys with Christmas trees strapped to the hood of the roof of their car. Fun. Because that's what's fun.
Yep.
And I always get a kick because now it's I think 5 or 6 years. I've been to all of them. The first time people go, they're very serious. The second time they go to race, they're having just fun. Yep. They don't care as much about winning. They don't care as much about that. They just want fun fan encounter and they decorate the car more maybe. It's more of and racing is missing that.
Fan interaction.
Yep.
And that was the whole idea when we did the All Out was to bring those podiums up there to bring people down.
Yeah.
So they could, and anybody could do it with that left-right simple, because now you have fan interaction. So now not just the racers are having fun, but people in the fans in the stands come down. That was the tagline. Not just the racers can win money and have fun at All Out Live. The fans from the stands can come down and be on instant green, and it's fun.
A lot of what people always talk about when I talk to them about car shows is they say pastime. Mm-hmm. When's that one coming back?
So that's
how do we make that one happen?
That's happening. So and I'll let you guys know. And so I'm going to sign the contract this week. And I wasn't when's this coming out? I shouldn't even say it.
It'll be out Monday.
So we have Pink's All Out is coming back. That's a lock deal at a track.
Yeah.
That's done.
Scheduled, booked.
We'll let you know. We didn't want to overshadow or put, start marketing 2 big events at the same time. So I told the track, I said, just let us get past this first one. I go from there. But the idea is either we're going to shoot the pastime at that event or we're going to do another separate event for pastime all by itself. And really what it comes down to is sponsorship, marketing, backing. And I think after people see the first event back here, we're going to get a lot more people. Everybody's hesitant. And first of all, between tariffs and economy, everybody's very holding back from there. We're starting to get phone calls now from sponsors. They're getting the word that's coming back. We're looking for solid marketing partnerships for pastime because to build the stages and everything back up is a very large undertaking. I have the podiums. You should stop by one time. I have the original podiums. Yeah? Oh yeah, they work. We took it out to PRI last year.
Oh, that's cool.
So I have the podiums, but they're outdated. So all the electronics, everything needs to be done on them again. But for the initial set, we got to get a set. We're going to probably spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just to do that, if not more, plus logistics and track rentals. So that one will take a little bit, but we get 13 episodes out of one shot at a track. So when it comes to filming, it's the most economical way to do it. So we have also a host for that. I'm not going to say who it is, but you'll know soon. We have a new host for that, new blood. Like you said, Libby said, oh, bring Brent back. I'm like, yeah, we love him, and it's great, but this is a new era. We want to try new stuff. I left this in the hands of Ray Hiddings. He made the ultimate decision. He's chosen somebody. We'll release that. We may be right after this. Everything is in place for pastime and Pink's All Out. Don't worry, everybody.
That's cool.
It's there. We just have to, what I need from you is, I need everybody to download the PowerTube TV apps. Go to pttvlinks.com, download an app,
Fuel the fire.
Fuel the fire so everybody can see it. Show the marketing partners and sponsors that we have reach and it's something you guys want to watch and want to do. And then they'll jump on board and help us bring these along. I've spent millions of dollars keeping this live, building this network out to bring these back. We need the help now of racers and fans and sponsors because it's not cheap. I mean, these things are expensive to do and take a lot. You know, there's a lot of production value involved in these things, and you can't go backwards. So we could do it. I know Garrett did a little deal, like almost like a pastime deal, where he had two guys sitting at the table and stuff like that. That's great. It was fun.
Yeah.
But we can't do that because people are expecting us to have a fully dressed. You can't take pastime and desecrate pastime, by doing some sort of cheap deal or something like that. It has to be what it was before.
Well, that's your deal. Like that, like
professional.
It's the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Same thing with
what
Pinks.
Garrett has, that's just like a fun
fun,
little,
yeah. He had a
that's
great
a
time.
rendition of what you've done.
I wish I could do it like that. I'd throw two guys on the thing and we'd have it done tomorrow pastime. I own the trademarks. I own everything. But if I did it, then the internet would just, you're all critics. We know it. So that's the same thing with Pinks. We didn't want to come back with Pinks.
Yeah.
With Rich being older and maybe, using the old concept and stuff like that. If we're coming back out, we got to come back out. 10,000 RPMs, blowing rods out the side of this thing. And that's where Pinks is. The call out, all the shows we're doing there. When Pinks All Out comes back, I'm going to throw some twists in from there. You'll see that too. Bruno is going to host that as well. And then we bring Pastime back. We got a new host. There'll be some more twists. We're going to try to, I'm talking Ray into doing it more of a live event than just a show. If you notice, Pastime was never really a live event. But
it was more of like a test and tune, it felt like.
They did it a lot of test tunes. So I'm going to make it into a 2 or 3 day event.
Yeah.
And what I want is I want to have, instead of just having, everybody love Paige, I want that Paige person to be somebody that's more interactive. Where, let's say, remember, if you look at the flow of the show, the guy takes his time, he gets 3 questions, he walks back to the car, he straps in. He's about 2 to 3 minutes that you don't see is chopped out of the thing. I want that person to go over, and I want the stands directly across. Let's say we're doing it at Rockingham. That first set of stands there, I want people in there, and I want to bring them down like we did that left-right, and I want them to come down and write on the board what they think it is, and they can win cash if they're closer themselves.
Yeah.
So they're like the third party, but now we have interaction with fans in the stands again, which now makes it more fun to come out to the event. You could be chosen. I mean, we did it for when we did the what do you call it, the All Out Live show with Instant Green. We just had the host of the show go out. We gave away free hats, put one signed inside, and we did like 16 of them. And then we throw out like 100 hats. And whoever got the hat, there you go. So anybody in the stands, there's no preferential treatment. It's fun. And I think that's where we need to go. Pastime needs to be more fun and interactive.
It's funny, when I think of Pastime, I always think of that White Fox body.
Was that oh God, he
go like an 850, and it was just like
legend,
as basic looking as it can be.
Yep, talking about
guy was in like jeans.
Yep, that was crazy. That's probably one of the most watched videos we have right now.
Oh, I mean, it's so great.
Yep.
It's like that car is still impressive. Watching that now, I'm like, wow, like that car was fast, and it looks so unassuming.
Yep, and we did a lot of great things that we could do with that show too for sponsors and partners. Is a lot of times we'll do we did an all turbo or all supercharged or all nitrous.
Yeah.
Marketing partners, hey, Nitrous Express, I don't know, whatever turbo company, whatever you want to do. We'll make a specific episode about nitrous or turbos, and we'll utilize all your cars.
Yeah,
and we'll name it yours and everything. That's the beauty of this show is we had military week, we had law enforcement week, we had fire week, we had turbo, and we had this because after you do so many of them, you need different ideas. So we had full, literally episodes just with all military people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then police, and then fire, and then we did the all turbo one, and then we did the all whatever from there. It was fun.
Hopefully we see Clay Milliken back a little bit because I saw him on a bunch of stuff and I was like, oh, I didn't even put it together because I became friends with him now, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just saw him out in Charlotte from there. Clay's a great guy.
Oh, awesome.
He's an awesome guy. He's talking about a genuine person from there.
Oh, NHRA is so lucky that he's so diehard in that
You know what was awesome that was on the show? Jack Beckman. I was personally spent a lot of time with Jack Beckman up in the tower when we did Pinks All Out. Mm-hmm. Jack Beckman is the funniest, nicest guy you will ever meet in your life too. He is awesome on camera and fun. I was trying to get him out to do some stuff. He might come out to Pinks All Out the week before. So I'm giving it up. So a week before Pinks All Out, or 2 weeks, there's going to be a big NHRA race at that same track. We'll be in there 2 weeks later, or a week later.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to maybe get some of the NHRA guys to come back out that were originally on the show.
That'd be cool.
Come hang out from there because they're going to be in the area anyway.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And also a couple weeks before probably helps you too because the track will be trying to promote their next thing.
We're going to be out there with the display.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big reasons going there was that we'll be out there with a big old Power Tube Pinks All Out display.
Yeah.
Come on out in 2 weeks. You're gonna get your car registered, have some fun.
It's like one of those deals. It's like, you had fun here. Guess what's coming soon?
Yeah, I'd love to go back to this track and then put people in the stands that would rival NHRA again.
Yeah.
We went to ZMAX in history. They had 26 or 28,000 at ZMAX. We put 33,000 in the next week.
Oh, wow.
33,000 people came out to Pinks All Out at ZMAX for Pinks All Out. No special racers, no nothing. Just you, me, next door neighbors. That's the beauty of Pinks All Out. We make stars out of just regular guys, and that's why I loved it. That's why I brought it. That's why I really wanted to bring it back. We made a network that highlights grassroots racers, content creators, builders, and we do that. And that's what my goal has been for the last 10, 15 years. Bring these guys to that elevated stage. I saw what it did for the sport, let alone the racers. People build cars just for Pinks. We had George Rubistello, who bangs my phone. I love you to death, George. She probably text me here. George is coming out to this from there. He was 11 Pinks, all outs, 11 of them. He's got the stickers on the side and everything like that. Led up in the finals, I think,
a gambler
once.
right there.
Led up in the finals once. This Pink's all out. He ran for the money.
Yeah.
He was also on the call out. He was on the call out with his car with his Nova and stuff. You'll see him, George Rubistello. But people would go there. And one of the biggest things about Pink's All Out and the events we do is like-minded people doing like-minded things. It was the party in the pits. I mean, you look out there at 500 race cars out there. Thursday, they'd show up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And start piling in outside, waiting outside the gate. Get there on Thursday and Friday for setup. And it would be a massive party for days on end out there. They could care less about the whole race. They just came to hang out.
I think a lot of people, too, are burnt out with class racing.
Yeah, bracket racing and stuff. I mean,
like, class racing's really grueling. I mean, you did NMRA and MCA stuff for so long. That gets very grueling.
Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Spend a shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. This way you come out.
Well, the rule sets are so tight now, too, that, you're within a number of each other, and it's $5,000 to get that number.
Yep.
And it's like, that burns people out.
I'm going to speak to you sponsors again. This $10,000 deal where we used to give away in a toolbox at Pinks All Out, I don't want that crap. I want big money. I need a sponsor that's willing to step up for 500 plus racers to give away a real prize with me. You know what I mean? Something significant. We want everybody back. The only way we're going to come back and draw people back, $10,000 is good money, but I want to give away. I want to come back and do something so ridiculous, it's like Pinks, that you're going to win. You're going to win this much money, this much prizes there. That's our goal.
Do you think? So you've dealt with so many sponsors. Do you think you have to get out of car industry to get?
Oh yeah, we're probably. I hate to say you're all cheap bastard, but it's half time you are. It's just so tough. It is.
A lot of them are so mom and pop, and it's like
not even that. It's just it's just getting the economy. These are that's the problem. And I don't mean to be rude about this, but one of the things I never understood, they'll give a Top Fuel dragster and all those guys millions of dollars to make 4 or 5 passes a weekend with a sticker on the side of the car that big, right? Where Pinks All Out and races like that come out, and I guarantee if we put the money up, there will be 400 to 500 racers out there. But these are 400 to 500 racers that actually buy parts, right? Not ask for parts. They go to Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and spend money. They're going to spend a bunch of money getting ready for it. They're going to go to the convenience stores on the way and buy ice and food. They're going to go to McDonald's. They're going to buy all this stuff in the grocery stores around. These are the people that actually go there that spend money. And we've seen it. I mean, Napa was a big sponsor before. You saw 1,000 Napa stickers on the side of the car, and they all have Napa shirts on. Napa didn't give anybody anything free. They just put up the prizes. But people felt, because that's what a grassroots racer does. They support the brands that support their sport. So I take that $1 million or take a quarter of that $1 million away from one of those big race teams that don't really need it and put it towards a program like this. And I'll show you what we could do for foot traffic, brand awareness, brand loyalty, because Pinks racers and Pinks All Out racers, let's say, are loyal shoppers of parts. They will buy. They'll go into, if you give $100,000 away to Advanced Auto Parts, nobody's buying their parts but Advanced Auto Parts. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, it's crazy because there's never been so many eyeballs on grassroots racing, but they still won't come off their wallet. And there has never been this many eyeballs. There's more eyeballs on grassroots racing on random clips on YouTube than there is on the most expensive racing series you can think of.
Yep. And it kind of kills me a little bit because they'll give away parts like nothing. Everybody wanted to give us parts. Thank you, everybody, for giving us parts for Pinks. But when it came down to literally giving cash away, it's like pulling teeth. You know, it's like, okay, if you're giving $20,000 of parts away, even if it's half, it's still $10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still money sooner or later. You know what I mean? We're going to give you infinite. So these shows will live online on our streaming network, plus our YouTubes and our Rumbles, everything for the next 10 years. I mean, look, they're still playing. Yeah. So if you're directly integrated into the show, not just a part and a sticker on the side of the car, meaning, you know, brought to you by, you know, this round by, burnout cam by, you know what I mean? Host is wearing it by. It lives on for years, and thousands and millions of views over the years comes from there. So I just don't understand why they just won't get involved. I think they're all waiting to see the success of this one, and that's why it's so important that everybody comes out and supports this. Because if you want shows like this, Pastime, Pink's All Out, we want to bring Drag Race High back, which is the kids. We want to do that show again. We need financial backing. I can't front it all for everything. I've got a ton.
Do you think they're more willing to help the individual racers than they are to help the overall show? Is that part of it, where these individual racers now have more contact
it comes
to
back.
them?
It comes back to the influencer and the small clips on TikToks and stuff, which get their views, but they all have their shelf life and they go away from there. And it's the thing that I always say is, you've got 30 seconds to a minute to sell somebody to actually go out and buy that product, and to be able to make that translate into an actual buy.
Yeah.
Where we're going to have to do a 30-minute show or an hour-long show where we could put a QR code in the bottom on any TV set and click it from there. Your saturated time, or your time in front of the viewer, is 3 times longer. We have much more placement and locations and time on there. People that they watch our shows. That's the difference. If they're all everybody's watching shorts. I'm like, no, 47 minutes on Roku from 0 to the end. That means they're watching 2 to 3 hours. That means the value in a marketing partner is, you know, a lot of advertising sold on the front side is cheaper than the ones on the back, because if they are watching, let's say that show is still being watched, and let's say through a Google deal and you're watching on YouTube, that last ad that's played is worth on value on CPM 3 times as much as the first one, because they know people will watch the first second or 3 minutes. But if they're still watching into, let's say, 20 minutes in, that means they're invested and they like the show. That means they're going to stay and watch that commercial in there. So that's from there. That's what we have. If they're watching 47 minutes, any commercials that come up on our stuff or any integrated marketing into the show itself, it's a viewer or let's say a consumer that's invested into that show. And that means they're usually loyal, good customers.
Yep. And it's completely different because, you know, I put out content on a lot of different things. So like, say on this with the podcast, a monthly it'll be like 300,000 views. But then on TikTok, say weekly, I'll get like 3 million views.
Amazing.
But those are completely different things. I mean, a million views on a TikTok is completely different than 5,000 views even on a podcast.
It's a short little, they're pulling segments and stuff like that.
It's just so different architect of, you know.
Well, I think a lot of time the marketing partners don't look at the time. Just because you got a click or you got a view doesn't mean that you stayed on there. You have to look past that first 1 second or past that first 10 seconds.
The marketing partners may not, but the built-in advertisers definitely do.
They do.
Know. YouTube knows how long someone watched.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of it. So the way that this all works is, that's my business, is using a VAST tag with they call ad markers, basically. So basically, in a period of time, let's say right now on our network, we're minimal. We're only 5 minutes in an hour. We don't like to shove a lot of ads down.
Yeah.
An average is 8 to 10 to almost 16 minutes. And what they do is, when you click on or you start watching the show, the ad pops on the pre, it's actually timed out. So if you've ever watched like a freebie, it's an obscure, weird time. The ad pops up right in the middle of a good scene.
Yeah.
Because those are done by ad markers. They call them Scuddy ad markers 35s. And basically what they do is, at an interval of time, it doesn't matter where it is. So that means that if somebody's still watching that deal, they know ad 1's this much, 2's this much, 3's this much, and 4. So it's like, you know, CPM of $5, the last one could be $18 to $23 because they know.
That's how it is on this show. I mean, it's just random. I just click OK, and I always get comments like, too many ads. It's like, I don't even...
No, you have no control over it.
I'm completely hands-off.
Yep.
Tell YouTube.
Yep.
Email them. I don't know what to tell you. Say...
Yeah, or buy the ad-free version.
Yeah, and I don't
we have
do
that too now. We're putting an ad-free version on ours.
Yeah.
For $2, you could watch the racing channel all month long for $2 with no ads.
Yeah, and that's great. And people buy it too on YouTube, and I don't do ad reads, so I'm not gonna then double down and take away that free version like a lot of people do. They'll they'll sell you and then they'll also do ads, which I.
No, it's a tricky business, and it's in the marketing world. We do a lot of stuff on our website where there's a lot of click through, outstream video ads. We do ad insertion directly. We do integration into the show. That's the thing. Integration isn't skippable. You can't skip it. And the idea is to make it where it's not it's I'm putting this part on putting this strange axles in my car. These are great. 31 spline, blah, blah, blah. Hold up 300 horsepower. You're just watching some informative deal. We created a new channel we have an informative channel with all our new apps coming out. We converted the informative channel into more of a infomercial channel where it's all installs. 90% of the marketing partners we have do either now. When I spoke to, we had 60 meetings at SEMA and MPMC and stuff. It was incredible. And all of them, I said to them, do you make content? Yeah, we have a studio in-house. 70% of all manufacturers now have a studio to make content in-house. The difference is we can't just put it on a network. It's not super entertaining, but it is informative and it gives them idea of what the product looks like installed. So we converted our informative channel, and starting out, I think next month, it'll be basically any nitrous, doesn't matter, any installs from any partner. We have an option now where they could jump on board. We have a monthly fee where basically they could have all their infomercial or all their installs on there. So we don't lie to people. If you're coming on to watch this one separate channel, like in our app, you're coming to see installs, and there is going to be,
what you're getting.
You're gonna get deals. And the good part is they're gonna put deals and stuff like that. I mean, like right now, you click on something like that, and on there you'll be able to see. It'll say this description, informative channel, learn about new parts, get great deals, get click through. Maybe find the parts you need, and then basically we'll be able to watch all the installs, and then we're having to put the QR codes with discounts. Like if you're watching this video, get 10% off a Pro Charger. Click on the deal and run through there.
Yep.
So that we can do that, because we have to get that creative in this marketplace to basically compete against the YouTube and stuff like that.
What's funny? What's coming back around full circle is live selling, like infomercial type of QVC type of stuff where they're doing like live on YouTubes and TikToks. We have that option too with our new Playout solution, our new content management system. Mm-hmm. We have the ability to do like a podcast or something and jump right into our live feed on Roku, Fire, and all of those at the same time. So we talked about that. And matter of fact, Rich Christensen, when talking to him, the old Pinks guy, he goes, "I got a perfect idea," and he pitched it with a host where basically he works with like the manufacturers for all their, like he called it, I forgot what it was called, 80-something, whatever, 80%, where they had this liquidation stuff through all these manufacturers. There's always this leftover stuff. Yeah.
RJS Racing Equipment has stuff with outdate tags, but you don't need it if you're not class racing or anything. Let's say you're just going with your snowmobile out there or something like that or whatever. And he's like, let's do something like that where basically I'll come, have this guy jump in every night on Friday night or Thursday night at 8 o'clock is whatever night. And we jump into this informative channel and we come up with a new deal of the day. Call in right now. Get these race belts. Yeah. We got 1,000 sets at $10 a piece. Something that outrageous.
It's becoming a thing again. Yeah, live selling, which
if it works,
it's funny. I mean,
hey, you got to get creative in this world.
Yeah, sometimes you can't predict what people are going to be entertained by and actually pay attention to. And then I saw that starting to come back up, and I'm like, what the heck?
People still watch QVC? It's amazing.
I know, it's such an interesting thing. Yep. So this has been going on for probably about our time. We're about an hour and 40 minutes into it. Let's get this wrapped up. Where can people find these events that are coming out? Obviously, people know where to watch you at this point. PowerTube TV on all the apps, on all the good stuff.
They can go over to PowerTubeTV.com. They can go to PTTVlinks.com. Basically, that's where it's our link page where basically has all the apps and all of the way to connect with us from there. They could go there as well. If they go to the PTTV links, is probably the easiest because you could go there and get to our ticketing deal to get on go to PowerFest, June 13th and 14th.
Yeah.
Get to see all the races, Pinks, Call Out, Nunley's Race, Wreck to Race, kids racing from there, exhibition. It's going to be great. New host, new format from there. We'll keep you informed. If you jump on as well under PowerTube TV and hit the community button, you'll get alerted ahead of time when we do another PowerFest, another Pinks All Out, maybe pastime, things like that. We haven't,
yeah.
We'll give you a little insight before we go from there. We'll get you some scoop on that from there.
Good deal.
But PowerTube TV is 100% free. There's no subscription. Download it. Watch it everywhere. Please share it. Grow the network with us. we'll grow with you. We're throwing a lot of time and money and effort for the grassroots racers, the creators. If you are a creator like you or something, we have a home for you. We'll give you distribution.
An actual automotive platform.
Yes, we have a network, and we'll put you right there. We'll get you your own, streaming page on there, your about page. We'll put you on all the apps. Just contact us, contact@watchpowertubetv.com, or just click on it. We have if you go to the website, click on partnerships, click it down. It's a content creator partner. Click on that, submit your information. If you're a racetrack and you want an event like PowerFest, Panks, Pastime, Drag Race High, any of that stuff like that, click on partnerships as well.
Yeah.
If you're a marketing partner and you want to step up to the plate and back the grassroots racers, shows like him, back him. We help out, get sponsors for you guys, sponsors for the racers. Just support the grassroots community, which we're building. Hit that button again. Yeah. Marketing partnerships. We'll be in touch. We've got packages that from a couple $100 to full on integration directly into the network itself.
That's awesome.
And we appreciate. Thank you so much for having me on. And this is great. And congratulations on the success. I've been watching it go along. It's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so glad we got a hold of each other, because we are clearly a perfect fit for being able to coexist in this space together. So this was awesome. We'll definitely do it again. I'm sure this is not your last time on the show.
I appreciate it.
Especially because you're so close to here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Go check it all out, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.